What's up, investors? It's the Russian dude. We find ourselves at a moment in history when Donald Trump, President of the United States, has managed to capture everyone's attention once again. This time by broadcasting his plans for ending the Russian-Ukrainian war. In a very Trump manner, he unilaterally decided the conflict is basically over, yet corrects his own statements with phrases like, just a few formalities to tie up, but don't worry guys, the war's over. What's more surprising is the venue of choice, a summit in Riyadh, announced on Trump's own Truth Social account, before some participants even knew they were invited. The summit is happening today, on Tuesday, February 18th, and at the moment of recording this video, some countries' representatives already started arriving. Some seemingly out of nowhere statements have also already been made, such as, for example, according to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, the main diplomat Sergei Lavrov, Russia wants to see Brazil and China as peacekeepers in Ukraine. Conveniently, both these countries are BRICS members and are allegedly Putin's supporters. But just a coincidence, right? The question is, does Brazil and China already know they have been awarded such a big role? Add to that the British Prime Minister's sudden willingness to send British peacekeeping forces to guarantee security post-peace deal. And this is all quite a spectacle. For the next couple of days, or maybe even weeks, the news will be coming to us at supersonic speed. So guys, if you want to stay in the loop, please subscribe to my channel. I will make sure to do everything possible to report on such rapidly developing events as quickly as I can, bringing you facts, and only facts. Thanks much, let's begin. Just a few weeks ago, the entire idea of holding peace talks in Riyadh seemed hopeless, especially under the stewardship of Trump's administration. After all, it's not often a summit appears out of nowhere, seemingly conjured by a single social media post. Well, yet here we are, with official confirmations that high-level delegations are indeed converging on Saudi soil. The summit is set to happen once again today, February 18th, and this is what we know so far. The Ukrainian side, apparently caught off guard just like the rest of us, now has people working hard to prepare for this event. As of right now, President Zelensky is not expected to attend the Riyadh's meeting. Which is very understandable, considering the possibility of this happening was non-existent just several days ago. There's not much you can prepare in such a short period of time, I mean, it makes sense, right? And traditionally, the heads of governments do not usually participate in the earliest stages of the negotiations. Once there are some concrete and clear and well-phrased requirements and agreements, this is when we might see Zelensky and Putin meet for the very first time since war started. It is also worth mentioning Zelensky did say that he is ready to meet with Putin, once there is anything worth discussing, because as of right now, the talks are likely to be very Russia-favored. There were even claims that talks might happen without Ukraine at all. Imagine talking peace between two countries where one side is not present. So what kind of agreements can be reached, right? So the frustration of Ukrainian side is very understandable. There will not be peace talks if Ukraine is not at the table, as said by Zelensky. On the other hand, the Russian side, though not yet sending President Putin himself as well, is rumored to be dispatching Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and other heavyweight negotiators. It is very telling that we have no actual peace plan to speak of. There is no official blueprint, no framework, and not so much as a leaked even draft to give us any real clue. All we have are tidbits of information. A promise that US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, leading a powerful team, will meet separately first with Russian officials, followed by a similar round of talks with the Ukrainians. The entire enterprise rests on a vast web of speculation, guesswork and hope. 1 week ago, we had only the Trump's administration pronouncements. Today, we have a bunch of confirmations and even partial schedules. Tomorrow, we may find it was all just another rhetorical flourish. But as of right now, the momentum is real enough for it to matter. For the very first time in almost 3 years, for better or worse, it seems like we are moving at least in some direction. While all this diplomatic theater unfolds, the relentless drumbeat of war continues to sound not that far away. If we take a look at the front lines, there is nothing that suggests any immediate ceasefire is about to take hold. In reality, the intensity only accelerated in the recent couple of days. Which is also not a surprise here, unfortunately, with both sides feeling that a potential peace is on the table, both countries trying to make the last-minute territorial gains to improve their negotiating positions. The Russian military still pushes forward in certain areas, still sends thousands in assaults trying to capture an abandoned barn in the middle of nowhere, and the casualties on both sides keep climbing. Missiles fly, drones rain destruction, and neither party shows genuine sign of slowing down ahead of the rumored talks. In reality, this grim, it feels too early and inappropriate to talk about progress at a negotiating table that might or might not materialize into a viable deal. Battles rage while diplomats make phone calls and scribble on notepads, drafting a peace that will render all current offensives useless. And yet, that's precisely how our world works. Armies rarely stop simply because negotiations are on the horizon. The tragedy lies in the fact that each day of continued fighting makes the entire notion of a swift peace more remote. The death toll climbs, and each new life lost highlights the absurdity of waging war and discussing peace simultaneously. But none of this dampens the swirl of rumors that an end could be near. In fact, the more savage the fighting becomes, the more desperate people grow to cling to any sign of hope. Which is true for both sides involved. Ukrainians more than ever want peace over their heads. There is a war going on for 3 years in their own country. Every day there is a chance it might become your last one. Not even talking about the soldiers, but the regular people as well. A random missile or drone and, well, that's it. The most recent poll shows that approximately 50% of Ukrainians are ready to even give up the territories that Russia currently holds in favor of peace. Well, to be honest, a very highly debatable and highly questionable decision, but that's what the people of Ukraine want. After all, we do not live in a country where danger knocks on your front door with each day passing. And then there are Russians as well. Even more people want at least some sort of ceasefire. They are tired of this meaningless war. And if you ask, let's say 100 random Russians on the street, what was the reason for all this, I guarantee you, most of them will not be able to give a definitive answer. And this war fatigues can actually be a good thing for negotiations if you think about it. For the first time in many years, Russians see there is a chance of getting back to normal life. And if Putin takes away this chance from them, there will be unrests. People will start questioning the ongoing events. Because when the solution to your problems is right in front of you, and then it suddenly is snatched away by a very controversial person, I doubt too many people will enjoy being played like that. We know that as of February 17, negotiations in Riyadh are scheduled to take place. We know that the Russian delegation led by Sergei Lavrov is likely to show up, even if President Putin himself remains in Moscow. We also hear that Zelensky is most likely not coming, but the rumors keep changing by the minute. But even if all sides manage to gather around the table in some conference room, what exactly will they discuss? So far, nobody has a final script. The proposals that were made earlier are unacceptable by the opposing side. Ukrainians, for example, do not want to give up territories, and Russians are not willing to withdraw. Some claim the war could be frozen in place with a buffer zone, while representatives of Russia say that major powers like China or Brazil might be dragged in to enforce a ceasefire. Though there is no sign that these countries have been formally approached. This entire summit feels very much needed and extremely rushed at the same time. Less than a week ago, nothing like this was ever proposed, and now we also have other countries being drawn inside the conflict as peacemakers, without these countries even knowing what roles were they given. So at this point it is relatively safe that nothing much will be achieved during this first meeting, unfortunately. It will be an actual miracle if ceasefire is agreed upon before the end of the week. But honestly, it will already be considered a very good progress if the next meeting between Russia and Ukraine will be announced during this summit in Riyadh. The one where nations will have much more time to prepare and the event will be at a much more serious and higher level. Trump's role in this saga is both central and bizarre. On one hand, he is driving force pushing for a resolution nobody else dared to publicly proclaim. On the other, his approach is so unorthodox, unilaterally announcing summits, dropping hints about massive international peacekeeping deployments, that it often feels we are witnessing policy by improvisation. And meanwhile, the rest of the global community appears blindsided by these moves. The British Prime Minister has stepped in to vow support for future settlement, even offering British troops as peacekeepers. Yet, the Europeans as a whole remain skeptical, worried that any rushed deal might simply freeze the war in the place and allow hostilities to flare up again later. Sergei Lavrov, for example, who once used to be an extremely respected diplomat, has already launched verbal taunts against what he sees as European intervention, labeling it completely pointless. Don't even try, guys. Though he sees nothing wrong with Brazilian Chinese peacekeepers on Ukrainian soil, what a surprise. But the foreign minister's allegations are hardly surprising, nor do they necessarily reflect the Kremlin's deeper strategic calculations. Donald Trump's timeline has always been ambitious. He says the war could be halted by Easter, a mere 2 months away. That would require a dramatic shift in Moscow's stance, especially if the plan involves foreign troops standing between the Russian and Ukrainian forces. Putin has consistently entertained a scenario in which he can throttle the war on and off like a faucet, ensuring that Ukraine stays in perpetual state of instability. Allowing international forces, namely the British, to secure the front line would severely limit the Kremlin's room to maneuver, forcing a real freeze that could become permanent. So far, the only truly groundbreaking development is that serious, in-person talks might happen. Only a short while ago it was unthinkable that top Russian officials and their Ukrainian counterparts would meet on neutral territory to negotiate peace terms. And then again, how neutral is Riyadh in this context? They do like in some way Russia more, obviously. And is this sudden flurry of action genuine, or is it a strategic ploy by Putin to buy time, or by the US to appease war-weary voters, or by Ukraine to secure a more favorable arrangement? Each side has its own agenda, and Trump's fragile optimism is not guaranteed to cut through them. Indeed, President Zelensky's stated refusal to participate in any summit without Ukraine's direct involvement underscores just how difficult the situation is. If key players are missing from the table, does the table even matter in the first place? Please let me know what do you think about these upcoming negotiations, guys, and what would be your perfect and realistic peace plan. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think, and I will be going through the comments. Please subscribe to my channel as well, since we are about to witness some historic changes and I want us all to be on the same page. If you want to support my work, there are links down below, for example my PayPal, where you can receive these episodes in early access, and also additional footage from Ukraine, hundreds of them every single week. Thanks so much for watching, see you tomorrow.
We won't succumb to their tricks, the facade they try to sell, their twisted words and feeble claims on us all they